Why
Yeah,
don't
I
we,
saw Kellyanne. She might be trying to get into the meeting. I
oh,
haven't seen her yet.
okay. There they are.
There's Alona. Okay.
There's Kellyanne.
There's Mark.
Wow, everybody jumped in here.
Arnett, we've got to get a bigger screen here or something.
Yeah. Getting smaller.
Hi, Alona. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Alana.
Hi.
All right, well, why don't we get underway then? Who's going to do the roll call, Dawn or Jerry?
I'd be glad to do it, Bill.
Okay.
Mr. Stanley.
Here.
Mr. Gromko.
Here.
Mr. Dobbs.
Here.
Mr. Nichols.
Here.
Mr. O'Connell.
Here.
Mr. Pelletier.
Here.
Ms. Ferguson, I don't see. Mr. Bowery from the Cheshire Town Council.
I'm present.
Mark Thomas, Chamber Liaison.
Here.
And we're joined by Arnett Talbot, the Assistant Town Manager, Lisa Selmquist, relatively newly appointed Secretary, will be working with the Economic Development Commission, among others, and also Alona Samoji and Ron Bergamo of Ball and Socket Arts, and Kellyanne Pierce, who is the owner of one of the most popular, not the most popular business in Cheshire, Sweet Claws.
Thanks for having me.
I'm here too, Jerry.
Oh, Dawn, I'm sorry. Hello, Dawn.
Dawn's there, yeah.
Hi.
You have a chairman. You
Hi.
have a quorum.
So we have a quorum.
You do.
Well, should we do the Pledge of Allegiance? Jerry's got the flag. Good job,
Flag.
Jerry. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America,
And to
to
the
the
republic
Republic.
stands one nation,
Under God,
under
God,
indivisible, liberty, and
liberty,
justice for all.
justice for all.
Well, Jerry mentioned that we have somebody new in his office to help us out in the future. And Lisa, I just want to offer a warm welcome and glad to have you on board. I'm sure I've already gotten 2 or 3 emails from you, so you're right on top of things. We appreciate you having you around and
Yes.
look forward to working with you.
Lisa, if you want to say a few
Thank
things about
you.
yourself, and feel
Forward
free
to
to say a few nice things about me too.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I come to you all from working in paratransit. I was there for about 7 years in multiple capacities. I am a Hamden resident. I previously worked with the town of East Haven in multiple departments, assessors department, planning and zoning, the mayor's office, things of that nature. I am mother of.
Whoops.
We lost her.
Yeah.
We lost her. She's coming back.
She's coming back.
There's Jamie.
There we go. It's on my free ride to benefit Milo Cancer Hospital. And it has been an absolute pleasure working for the town of Cheshire, working with Jerry, working with all of the departments. I am learning I'm learning a lot of things.
Right. Well, it sounds like your background is perfect for this job. You've been in the municipal realm for quite some time. Whoops.
And let the record show too that Jamie Ferguson is in the meeting as well.
That's right. Okay. Well, I'm sure Lisa will be back. Should we approve the minutes of the last meeting? Everybody had a chance to look at them. Can we get a motion on the minutes? Second?
Aye.
That's Dan, I think. All in favor?
Hi.
Okay,
Aye.
minutes are passed. Why don't we move right down to new business and we'll give the floor to Lona and Ron and Kellyanne to talk about Ball and Socket Arts. Take it away, guys.
Thank you. Good morning. Hi, friends. Thank you for making time for us today. I think it's important to update everybody as to the status of the project. And so I'll do a quick, I hope, quick intro, pass the word over to Kelly. I want to share the plans with you where they stand today, and then pass it over to Ron. So I just want to say that the reason that I started working on this project years ago now is that I walked into those buildings and I fell in love with them. And I also saw in them a potential for a arts presentation complex, which our town didn't have, and I felt our town could really benefit from. And what I realized very soon after starting this project is what we were engaging in was actually a creative placemaking project. And it's a movement that's been around for quite a while. But its goal is to spur positive economic growth around an arts and cultural development center. And it's usually utilized for neighborhoods that are in need of revitalization. The proven benefits for creative placemaking to towns and cities is that there's an increase of commercial traffic, there's an increase in tourism, there's an increase in property values, and there's an overall increase in vibrancy, which is it's a not quite definable category, but I think everybody knows what a vibrant town is. So our location is on West Main Street, right in the Village District, which is the area slated by your Plan of Conservation and Development as a potential walkable commercial center of Cheshire. I don't need to tell you this. Our project of redeveloping this prominent local landmark is the linchpin for sparking tremendous growth and development potential in this area. Working towards this sustainability is also a huge outcome for our town with ball and socket, as historic preservation, brownfield remediation, tourism, and creation of an arts district are all actions advocated by Sustainable CT and are all part of what we are doing. Now, because of the enormous cost involved in cleaning up and restoring a historic structure of this size, which is over 60,000 square feet of buildings on 3 acres, the endeavor does not fit a traditional development model. So a nonprofit enterprise becomes the natural shepherd for this project. And because of these same costs and complications, these projects can and do take very long time. So also because of the cost involved, our plan at Ball and Socket Arts has always included a retail and dining component. The income from the leases would support the maintenance and operations of the complex and underpin our own cultural programming. There would be a symbiotic relationship between retail and the arts, where audiences are shared. Some come to see a show and stay to shop. Some come for shopping or dining and wander into the galleries. 2 years ago, the town helped us remediate the exteriors of building 2 and 3. In the process, they got a much needed facelift. Internally, our organization has gone through leadership changes and led to a much larger and more engaged board. That engagement has led to a spurring of the project, which has led to significant tenant interest. As we move forward with the project, our phasing plan has evolved, and we are now looking at breaking ground for phase 1, which includes the front lot and buildings 2 and 3. We have gone through all the necessary planning and zoning and wetlands permitting processes and are currently working with DOT and DEEP for the necessary easements and permits. And we are working with the utility companies right now for the installation of the new connections and services. Jerry, do you mind sharing the map right now?
No, no problem.
Just a pause for technology.
I should be able to get there, but I'm not. Let me try it again. Okay.
We good?
There we go. Okay.
Thank you, Jerry.
Mhm.
So our first 2 tenants that we have letters of engagement from are Sweet Claws, and Kelly Ann Pierce is here today. They would be taking the entire first floor of building 2, which is the one that runs along Willow Street. The front, which is the old post office, is a wonderful, quaint wood paneled space that would be the retail shop. And then behind it is plenty of space for ice cream manufacture. The second floor is a tenant called the Social Learning Center. They are currently located on Highland Avenue, and they are a family-centered business. So I think both of these tenants created such an excitement for us because they're both family-friendly tenants, and they would bring a lot of traffic off the trail. Where we are now, the important part for us is that behind Building 2 is Building 3, which is that smaller building along Willow Street. That would be our first gallery, and the second floor would be our offices, our headquarters, and meeting spaces. So that would be the first permanent presentation space we will have as an arts organization. There's also an arts component to Building 2 where we have a what we're calling the Artcade, a covered area that will have a permanent space for murals to be changed and changing different visual arts programming in there, which could be very exciting. It's also a place for people to hang out and eat their ice cream. And then now just to like lay out in the future, what we're planning is phase 2 would be in the back of the property. So back at the rear, you see the Farmington Canal entrance. There's a little culvert that's already in place, and people could actually just ride off their ride on their bikes into the property. And the large building that's back there, which we call Building 5, is the Coal House, and that is currently being developed by a private investment group, a partnership, and they are looking to turn that space into a tap room and a live music venue, which would also be wonderful traffic spur. That would be actually an independently developed portion of the site. We would give them a long-term lease on that. And across the way from that is a triangular building at the very, very end of Building 1, which is has very significant interest from 3 bike shops. And it's a perfect location for a bike shop. It's right off the trail. So then we're also hoping to introduce into phase 2 Barker's Character Museum and Gallery. He approached us several months ago, interested in moving to this site. So that would be back at the front of the site, and that would also be an incredible tourist draw, right, for this part of town. Wonderfully symbiotic with the ice cream parlor across the way. And also part of our larger mission of being an arts and cultural programming center. So Building 1, which is phase 3, is the largest and most complicated part of the project. But that's where we would have more retail opportunities. You can see those pink buildings there. And then this is where we will also have dining spaces and all of the galleries for art display and programming. So we are currently in the process of applying for another DECD brownfield loan with Jerry and Dan's help that would address the rear site. So we're already sort of looking to move the phasing quickly. So once we get that parking lot and the rear plaza developed, the tenants coming in would be much, much easier than what we're facing now, which is to like really just like, you know, kind of like get in there for the first time and start working. So the interesting thing about this project is we already have so many inquiries from potential tenants that we couldn't fit them all. People really want to be here, and on that note, I would like to turn it over to Kellyanne as our first star tenant. So Kellyanne, go for it.
Thank you. Just a quick little bit about me. I've been involved with Sweet Plots for 15 years now, and I've been an owner for 6 years, and this will be my first year as a sole owner, but I've been involved for over a decade now, so I think I know the business pretty well. And we have 2 main prongs of our business that we generate sales out of, and that's walk-in traffic and wholesale traffic. So On both of those aspects, we're looking to increase and grow. And the reason that we're looking to relocate is for the past few years, we've just kind of run up against our capacity maximum. So, which is a good thing, you know, we're growing, we're becoming more popular, and we just don't have enough space to make it work. I need space for freezers and space for more production. So for the past few years, we've been undertaking, searching for a new location. We've looked at many places to purchase or rent. And when the opportunity came to look at ball and socket, we kind of weren't really sure. Obviously, it was a slow going project, but I wanted to check it out anyways. We met up there and we checked out building 2. And when I saw building 2, I really had a light bulb because the design is perfect to put in a custom kitchen. It's slab so that it'll hold all the weight of my freezers. And it's like Alona was saying, it's got that beautiful post office front for the walk-in traffic. So really it solves my 2 problems in one fell blow. We can increase walk-in traffic by being closer to the path, which has been beautifully redone. And the fact that West Main Street is one of the only places that Cheshire has for walking commerce is really makes it the place that we want to be. And additionally, because I mentioned we have that large kitchen space where I can put in more freezers, we can look to expand our wholesale production, which is something that I've been looking to do for the past few years. We're expanding our line of, you know, non-dairy items and sale items, new packaging, that kind of stuff. So hopefully in the next few years, you'll start seeing Sweet Claudes on the shelves at the grocery store, or at the gym, or that kind of stuff. But in order to do that, we need more space. And luckily, I think we found a good partnership with the Ball and Socket Factory. Everyone has been extremely helpful in getting us exactly what we need. And although, of course, it's going to take a little bit of time to get the permitting and the build outs, it's been important to stay committed to this project because it really does provide all the solutions that I'm looking for. So I'm willing to wait. And as I said to Alona and Ron the other day, I still got a little bit of youth in me. So I got about 30 more years before I'm ready to retire. And so when I'm looking to move, I'm looking to move for a significant period of time in a place that I can grow the business for that space of time. I don't want to do it again. So that's why it's been really good to partner with the Ball and Socket Arts crew, because I think we're building something for the future that is both for ourselves as the business, you know, where we can grow, but also, I mean, West Main Street is popping. You guys have done a great job doing the sidewalks and the lighting and the walking. That's going to be a community over there. And I see in the next 10 years, just like Alona was saying, we're going to have restaurants over there. We're going to have a brewery over there. You guys willing, of course. And that's going to be the place. You know, we do have a growing community of like young people. Obviously, you guys know that we have a crazy amount of families with young children, you know, with the cartoon museum and that sort of stuff. I just feel that we pair excellently. Do you want to go to a concert and grab an ice cream after? We're open late night. Do you want to take your kids to the cartoon museum and grab a cone? That's cool too. Maybe you hit the art gallery and you stop by. So we're doing the whole synergy thing, and I think it's starting to snowball a little bit, and we're starting to go downhill. So I think it's a good thing. That's really my whole shtick right there. So, you know, if you have any questions or if Ron wants to jump in, that's my piece.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I guess what you basically heard is exactly what you guys wanted Ball and Socket to become. We want it to be a linchpin. We want it to be a destination. We want it to be something that can drive business in town. And uniquely, a lot of times when businesses come to town, you know, we've got a lot of restaurants in town, and we have a lot of other manufacturing kind of things that have, and distribution things that have come into town. But this is one that actually brings a group of people here who are coming to town for enjoyment purposes, and they're coming to town during the daylight hours, which is unique in that it's going to help drive traffic to other businesses in the area that are not open when people come to town to use restaurants at night. It might even drive some additional business towards the restaurants for their lunch hours. So we actually are a destination point that would drive some additional business for not just our own facility, but for all the facilities around us, and not even just on West Main Street, but people have to get to us. They have to come down Route 68. They have to come down or up Route 10. So all of those places that they pass are in one way, shape, or form, a form of marketing for those companies and or opportunities for them to get people in the door. So we're hoping that this is going to be exactly what the town was looking for from us. And we think it's finally, we have some traction on the project. I think there's been a little bit of a misconception that we're well-funded. I've heard some people say, oh, it's going now, so you're all well-funded. This is still a charity, and this is still a 501c3 that we have to raise money to do every part that we do. And you guys have been very instrumental in that and helping us get the brownfield money to get the remediation done so that we can make the buildings habitable, so that we can get the tenants to be able to move in. We've been able to secure some funding through private sources to start the site work at the front of the building for phase 1, which will begin hopefully within the next 30 to 60 days, depending on permitting that we have to still complete. But once we get to that point, we want to start doing our build out. And while we're working with independent folks to get the money, we're going to need some support. We aren't a conventional lending opportunity, at least not until after the phase 2 remediation takes place. We have to get the building component remediation off the table before a conventional lending facility would be involved. They don't want to mortgage a property that still has environmental concerns in any way, shape, or form. We're hoping that those grants in phase 2 will get us the remediation that we need to make building 1 habitable. And under those conditions, the banks would be inclined to start helping us. However, that's going to take a little bit of time, as we all know. And in the meantime, we're still having to build out for Kellyanne and the Learning Center. So we're hoping for you guys for a little support. I'd like to see if we could get a letter of support from the commission that would allow us to have you guys acknowledge our potential impact to the town and the area, and provide some form of a statement of support that I could provide to private institutions or lenders or donors, because we are starting our pledge drive and we want to, free money is better than loan money every day of the week. But we want to try and do that from the standpoint of showing that it's not just us, and we're not just a rogue charity out there trying to raise money, but we're an integral part of the town's plan to get to where it wants to go on the West Main Street district. If that's something that you guys have done before in some way, shape, or form, it would be a great help for us in raising the money that we need to do phase 1 and phase 2 over the next couple of years. So that's where you're, okay. Jerry, have we ever done anything like that? I'm new enough to the commission to not know the answer to that question.
Not like for this type of project, but to be honest with you, and all of you have been there, you know, there has been and there is a strategy for West Main Street, and the strategy involved, as Aluna said, the sidewalk extension, you know, the streetscape improvements, the Hawk pedestrian system, finishing the trail. This is the last part of the strategy. Right. And, you know, this is the centerpiece of it all. And right. I would have no problem with the commission sending a letter of support for this. Yeah, it sounds like a reasonable thing. I mean, obviously we're not guaranteeing anything, but we can certainly say we're supportive and think it's important. And we're doing everything we can. As you know, Jerry's working with you on the grants. That's a big thing. If we can get that done and get the property clean, it will make a huge difference. Do you have a rough timeline on these various
phases, Ron?
Yeah, I mean, right now, we want to complete the phase one build out by the end of the calendar year if possible. We've got all the plans in place. We've got all the setup in place. We've already got the money for the site work. We've got some of the money towards the build out. And if we wrap up the build out with some acknowledgement that I'm going to need to convince some people that they should put the rest of the money in,
Yeah.
we can get Kellyanne in there come spring during her off season, and that would be fantastic for her, fantastic for us. Learning Center would be right behind her, and then we would have our building 3 right behind that. So phase 1 hopefully will be done by this time next year. Maybe worst case, building 3 lingers into the summer. With the ability of the Brownfield grants phase 2, if we get those grants and can get that going, and part of those grants is the parking area that you see in the back of the area, and then and building some roofing and remediation on a water problem that we have there. That gets us the ability to open that trail access, which we couldn't do right now because the remediation still needs to occur back there. It allows us to then get the coal house going, which is an independent development that doesn't require our money to get going. So once that remediation occurs, the start and build out of that coal house, the building in the back, can begin rather rapidly. So I think phase 2 would hopefully commence if we get all the remediation done next year, late in the year. And then we would hopefully have a completed phase 2 within a couple of years. That would link the back of the trail and the front of the trail and the back of the building and the front of the building. We'd have performance space, we'd have art space, we'd have educational space, we'd have retail space, we'd have a museum that have traffic. And so within, a 2-year period, if we have the right support, we can be what you guys want us to be pretty quickly without the facility coming to fruition quite yet. Building 1's a bigger undertaking and take a lot more money. So we have some fundraising to do, but we can be up and running pretty quickly if we get the right financial support from the folks that we're talking about.
Commissioners, if you want to get an idea of what the future could be for ball and socket arts, right now you're looking at a conceptual plan. Drive up to North Adams, Massachusetts in the Berkshires, and it's pretty drive, but it's an old manufacturing complex that was converted to just what ball and socket wants to be. It's pretty much the gold standard up there, and you'll get a pretty good idea what the good people at Ball and Socket Arts are trying to do here.
What's the name of that one, Jerry, up in Williams?
Mass MoCA, the Museum of Contemporary Art.
Beautiful facility.
Yeah.
And like most of these, it took a long time to do, but the dream came along.
Any other commissioners have questions that they'd like to pose? All right.
This is Jamie Ferguson. I have a question about the pledge program and how, what your goals are for how much you'll raise through that. And if you have any matching support, any corporate sponsors in any way to match those funds?
Well, that's where the letter hopefully comes in. We're talking to a lot of people who are sort of on the fence on that sort of thing. Our goal initially would be to raise about $1 million, which would underwrite the whole balance of phase 1. And if we got some corporate sponsorship behind that, that would be fantastic. Right at the moment, because of the nature of what we're doing, it's a lot of private money that we're looking at and potentially private loans. The pledge drive that we're trying to kick off, we're going to be doing that this spring. We're going to be talking to a number of individuals. We're going to be continuing our public relations. We're going to be continuing our marketing efforts. We're going to be continuing our Evening in White that engages the community in further activities. So we don't have everything quite put together for that yet. It's a good question, Jamie, and we could use help. I mean, if you guys know corporations that that are a good fit for this, pass them our way or talk to them about us. Talk us up. We could use the support right now.
Will do. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Jerry and I can probably work together and come up with a letter, some sort of a letter that we can work together on and hope, put together for you guys. I think the other thing that would be cool, and I don't know whether you can do this at this point, is would it be possible for the commission to come over and tour the facility at some point and see what you're up to? I mean, we've driven by it and seen it and everything, but nobody's actually ever seen what's going on there.
We would absolutely welcome that.
Okay.
We have to do it properly and safely,
Sure.
but we certainly can do that, and we can organize that around your schedules.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think we'd love to come over and take a closer look.
To be there is to fall in love with it. It's an
Oh,
amazing.
that's good.
I was just gonna say that, Bill. Seeing is believing. Once you get
Yeah.
over there and you see how much space there is, you can really
Yeah.
see the potential.
Okay.
Ron,
Maybe we can work with
is there
Jerry.
anything, Ron and Alona, is there anything the chamber can do for you?
Oh, yes. Absolutely, yes. When we launch the pledge drive, it is going to be sort of a mass marketing campaign going to getting into as many hands as possible in town. So for sure, whenever your next mass mailing is, that would be tremendously helpful if we can get in there. We're also going to participate in your golf tournament. I know Ron's a killer golf player, but we should take this conversation offline. I'm sure there are many ways that the chamber can be very
Yeah, and I'm happy to speak with my board today about also if you need another letter from the Chamber of Commerce, if that would help you.
that would definitely
I'm
help.
sure they would get behind that as well.
Thank you. Yes,
That
definitely.
would be
Great.
spectacular. Thank you, Yetta.
And if you would like us to visit the board in a similar, your chamber board in a similar venue and talk about the project, we're happy to do that as well.
Thank you.
Am I right in thinking that building 1 is now pretty clean and that you're able to go ahead and build that out and use it?
Yes, you're absolutely right. There is no hazardous material or any environmental concerns in building 1.
So is that building 1 and 2 or 1 and 3?
Well, just to get the nomenclature correct, we're
Oh, I
actually
got the wrong buildings.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I meant building 2 and 3.
building
Yeah.
2 and 3, and
Thanks, Ron.
all the remediation has been taken care of, and those have been deemed habitable.
Okay.
We're solid there. So those facilities are ready to go, and that's in large part thanks to you guys with the remediation work in phase 1 that you helped us get to finish that part of it to get us this far. So it's been a great team effort with you guys.
Good. That's great. Any other questions for Ron or Alona or Kellyanne?
Just a comment that Alona, you and I should talk relatively soon about the second grant.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Well, thank you for coming this morning and making this presentation. It's great, and we look forward to taking a tour sometime soon.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. It's great speaking to
Quite
you.
welcome.
All right, guys. Thank you for your time
Thanks,
today.
thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
I know. So we'll continue on with our meeting. Jerry, no communications do we have any communications?
No, just what's in the packet.
Okay.
Everything is embedded within the packet.
Speakers for future meetings.
Yeah, I have 2 suggestions for you. One is someone I don't think ever heard from, and he's the president of a manufacturing company, and most of you know him. It's Doug Johnson from Marion Manufacturing. The other idea I had was to invite the 2 principals behind Bone and Prime, which are going to take over the former Cagino's building, and just talk to them about, what they plan to do with the building, what their timeline is, why they selected Cheshire to open a new facility, those types of things.
Yeah, Boney and Prime might be interesting, just to see where, as you point out, find out why they chose Cheshire and if there's anything we can do to help them.
Yeah, and if you have any other suggestions, let me know, please.
Okay. Election of officers. We have to do that every year about this time, and usually we appoint a nominating committee. So I'm going to appoint Dave Pelletier as the nominating committee. He can choose as many lieutenants as he wants, and maybe report back to us in the next month or two, Dave.
No problem. I'll take care of it for you, Bill.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Open for business activities.
Yes, Yetta and I have been running another promotion, trying to encourage people to patronize Cheshire restaurants and eateries. The deadline on that is rapidly approaching. It's what, March 21st, I believe. So we'll be drawing names out of the hat, and there'll be an announcement on the winners. And we're just going to keep doing these promotions, if not for the restaurants, for some other segments, especially our smaller retailers too. So we'll just keep it rolling. And if you have any suggestions, we're all ears, please. Okay.
How's this round going yet? Are you getting a lot of entries?
Yeah, Jean told me that there's more entries this time than there was the last two times, which is nice to.
That's great. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, and we'll add them up at the end so you'll know the total amount.
Great.
Yeah. And
Thank
the
you.
announcements we're taking around to a number of different restaurants, and they're posted prominently, which is great. So the responses from the restaurants and also the Cheshire public has been really very good.
Very nice.
Great. It's great. Liaison reports. Yetta or Mark?
Sure. So actually, the legislature is in session, so there's a lot going on, even at the state and federal level. And we have completed, and yet just to confirm, the board approved our legislative agenda. So,
That's approved, yeah.
okay, so we can send you over a copy of it so that you have what we were focusing on. One of the bills that came up that we actually were taking some action on was the establishment of a statewide assessment to encourage affordable housing in the state, and which would increase taxes for businesses. So we're just saying that we're not against the affordable housing in the state, but that we don't think now is the time with the pandemic and businesses really struggling to add any additional taxes to them. So that one's out there. At the federal level, it's kind of interesting. If you've heard with the Transportation Act that Biden has been pushing, and he's a train buff, that part of that is to build a bullet train connecting New York to Boston that would go through the state of Connecticut. And the big impact of that would be it would take less than an hour to get to New York City or to Boston, which would have a major impact, especially after the pandemic and people are able to work from home. If you could commute to New York City within an hour, some people even indicated that it could make the whole state of Connecticut be like Fairfield County, as it would be a destination place for people to want to live. So that's an interesting one. And obviously there's a lot of obstacles, environmental, all kinds of things. But it was a plan put together over a 10-year period by some very smart people that put a lot of research into it. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Interesting. Dave?
We are working on budget now, so it's a busy time for that. We are cognizant of the fact that the town manager has presented a budget which has a tax increase for time in 2 years. We're cognizant of the fact that there's potential revenues to help offset that and some efficiencies that we can bring. And so don't get all nervous that all businesses are going to be and homeowners are going to be having a almost $2 million increase. We are going to be working on that and still provide the services that our businesses and residents expect.
So stay tuned.
And
Stay
just a
tuned.
reminder,
We're just starting. Tonight's the first.
our annual meeting is April 9th. So if you're interested in attending, call Yetta.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah.
That's a virtual meeting, I assume.
It is. We've been working with our friends at Bizzuto's Media, and we have presented all the awards, and they were all filmed. So there'll be a wonderful film. Besides us having to do our annual dinner and our presentation of our board members, there will be a film that we did that, they're so professional over there.
Yeah,
And we're so grateful to Bizzuto's for that.
terrific. Well, that's good. That's April 9th, you said?
April 9th at 6 o'clock. If you would like a dinner, you can pick it up at the chamber between 4 and 5. There's a catering, we'll have a caterer here. You bring it home, heat up your dinner, and watch the video.
Terrific. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And finally, Jerry, you're on for the coordinators report.
All right, this is for everyone, but in particular, Derek and Don. We're understanding that there's probably going to be an application for a CEA filed in a couple of weeks. That being the case, going to convene a refresher meeting for the management committee of TIF, which Don and Derek are on, along with Councilman Tim Slocum. I'm on the committee, the planner, the acting assessor is on the committee, and also Doug Johnson is on the committee. And we've engaged Camoin to help us through this first application for the CEA because it's important that we get it done correctly and right and protect the town's interest. So Don and Derek, you're going to hear from me. I'm going to put together a meeting, just a refresher. It's been a while, and I don't expect it to be long. It'll be a Zoom meeting, so I'll be in touch rather soon too. State land in the interchange zone. We're making significant progress. It's been a long haul, but we cleared up the matter of Birch Drive. The Birch Drive was officially conveyed to the town by the state of Connecticut. And we're expecting the map and the Mylar for about 58 acres of state-owned land to be conveyed to the town within the next couple of weeks. So this is an idea that Dave Pelletier had a long time ago when we were talking to Arnett Muldrew, and it looks like we're going to get the land and probably seek development proposals. It's been a long call, but I'm encouraged with that development. Warehouse distribution and interchange zone. I know the planner, I've seen several drafts go back and forth. The town's going to propose a reg change to permit warehouse distribution in the interchange zone. Bizzuto's pulled back on their proposal. Why, I'm not sure, but we're going to go ahead and put one forth from the town. That's another recommendation from an Arnett Muldrew report to permit warehouse distribution in interchange zone, just to give us some more flexibility with some of the uses up there. Outdoor dining, it looks like the General Assembly is going to allow towns to continue with outdoor dining at least through this year. And I'm sure that's going to be the case here. Chase Bank. Chase Bank used to be in the South End years ago. They were where the Webster branch is down there, and Webster's going to vacate that branch soon. They got approval some years ago to locate where the Dragon Buffet was. It's now going to be a Starbucks. But Chase has been looking to get back in town for a long time. And there's a piece of property almost across from Stop and Shop in the East Mitchell Avenue area that we're going to see plans for a Chase Bank branch. So, I'll officially report to you at the next meeting, because by then I expect to see the plans. There's a good article in your packet about Marbridge, which is going to be a pretty project once it's completed. And there's an article about Bone and Prime. Michael's Deli, for those of you who patronize Michael's Deli across from the town hall, that's under new management. The menu's changed, but not significantly. So go over there and say hello, and I'm sure they'd welcome your business. Cheshire Craft Brewing. Jamie, can you hear me okay? I don't know if I don't want to report on Cheshire Craft Brewing if you're on this meeting, so you want to take it away where you are?
Sure. We are 90% done with everything. I said it's all those loose ends of us wrapping up a few things. We've been brewing. We've got a few things kegged in the cooler. We are anxiously awaiting news from the state of Connecticut that we have our license. And we do know that we have the support of the town, that everything is pretty much in place, that as soon as that authorization comes in from the state, we can get those signatures from the planning office, from the fire marshal, and from Chespercott. We anticipate that those will be timely. So a couple weeks from whenever I open the mail and jump up and down in the parking lot. So we're close.
That's good.
All right, Counterweight Brewing has been quiet, but that doesn't mean they've stopped work on their project. We expect to see plans, building plans soon. They've hired a contractor. The contractor's been in touch with the office. Not sure exactly when they're going to start construction, but they've got to get their building plans approved. So maybe in the spring, we'll see some ground broke over there. Phase 2 remediation of ball and socket arts. You know, you heard Ron Bergamo speak to it. We're working with the people at Ball and Socket Arts to put together a second grant, which is due April 7th up at the Department of Economic and Community Development, and we'll see what we can do with that. Arnett, I'm assuming this is still on. I'm expecting we're going to make presentations to credit rating agencies on March 18th. I think that's still the case. Is that correct?
Yes, we have one at 9 a.m. and one at noon.
Yeah,
Standard
and we'll
Poor's.
be pitching the town to Standard & Poor's and to Fitch. And, you know, we want them to reaffirm our credit worthiness. So, you know, you'll hear more from me about that. Dave Bowery already talked about the budget. Council's going to start going over things, and, you know, they got their work cut out for them. I think the town manager has asked for calls for a mill rate increase of 1.9 mils over the current mill rate. Is that correct, Dave?
Yes, that's the recommendation.
Well, that's my report. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, Jerry, if you have your grant deadline for ball and socket of 4/7, when do you think you'll hear on that?
You heard me speaking to Lona. I know we've been working with Fuss and O'Neill on it too. I'm not sure. The state takes a while to get back to us on these things.
Be a few
Good
months.
news is we were cleared. We got cleared with a pre-application. Basically, all that means is, you know, you could submit an application.
Doesn't guarantee you'll get the funds.
What's that?
There's no guarantee you're going to get the funds.
No, but I think Ball and Socket, you know, you never know, but,
Right.
you know, the town and Ball and Socket, you know, did a good job of bringing this project in in a rather timely way. Remediation projects take a long time, but we brought it in under budget, and you know, I think the proof is there. And DECD guys have been out looking at it, and they're pretty pleased with what they saw.
Okay.
So we've got a track record here. So hopefully, you know, we'll get the second.
Anything else anybody wants to bring on the table? If not, I guess we're in good shape.
Oh, sorry. This is Jamie Ferguson.
Yeah, Jamie.
There is one new business that's coming to town, and I was waiting to get authorization that I could say something publicly about it.
Yeah.
The business is called Positive Outlooks. They're a holistic service provider to patients and families impacted by an acquired traumatic brain injury. They intend to open their headquarters this July on the north side of Cheshire in the Cheshire Industrial Park Complex. So Suzanne Robitaille and I met with them the last few days. They've signed a letter of intent and are very, very enthusiastic. They were actually, one person was jumping up and down. They were so excited about the space and being in central Connecticut and being in Cheshire that they already asked if they could give me the information, if I could give them the information to join the Chamber of Commerce. So I will be doing that later today with Yetta.
That's terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They take people from all over Connecticut, so this is a good central location for them.
That's really good news.
That's terrific. Mm-hmm. How big a space did they take, Jamie?
I believe it's 3,700 square feet. It's Unit 5 in the Cheshire Industrial Park. So which is just the north side of the Ion Insurance branch. It's like 1430, maybe 1450 Highland Avenue.
Do they have to do some build out before they can move in, or are they in pretty good
No,
shape?
it was actually perfect.
Oh, good.
That I think, which is what led to the jumping up and down. Apparently that's what happens around me. No.
Oh, that's terrific. So they're moving in fairly soon, or?
Yes, July.
Excellent.
So in July.
Great news. Thank you.
Sure.
Anything else?
No, one thing I miss with the Zoom meetings is getting coffee for the commission. I was thinking of hiring like Grubhub or something to deliver coffee to all your houses.
We'll be back together pretty soon, I think, Jerry.
I hope so.
I hope so
really
too.
would.
All right. Until next month then. Good to see everybody.
All right.
Good to
Thank you
see
all.
everybody.
Take care
Have a
now.
good day, everyone.
Nice to